2022 has begun. New year, same shit as last year. The first, three wrestlers, at least. A couple more wrestlers. I think there was I can't remember all the names, but mostly a lot of corporate figures and backstage personnel. It has already started, though. And of course, it comes with names of people, of course, who were there because of one man, and that is Triple H. One man only. What's going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I'm here live again for the second time tonight, and we are going to talk very briefly about the news this past week in WWE, and really the only news that anybody wants to ever hear about anymore, apparently. And that's WWE, particularly, of course, NXT, released several more names. The past 110 since that Black Wednesday or Black Thursday back on April 15th, 2020, started a trend of WWE just cleaning house and releasing so many names. A lot of people definitely surprised. But of course, nobody's job is safe. But of course, if any brand has been, getting ripped apart piece by piece, especially since last summer, it's NXT. Vince McMahon obviously could not stand for years that people thought that Triple H was was more meant to be in charge than him. And of course, also he didn't like the fact that NXT could not beat AEW on Wednesday nights when Dynamite and NXT were going head to head in the same hour. There was no chance in hell for NXT. No pun intended right there also, as I said. So of course, what happens? Starting last summer, and which I still say, even though NXT already was falling downhill already, and it suffered because, of course, of the crowds and no Full Sail. But last summer, I still say it started, for me, personally, when Karrion Kross got called up to Raw. In his first match, he lost to Jeff Hardy in 90 seconds. As NXT champion. And from there on out, it was all downhill for NXT. Vince McMahon walked in the building with Bruce Pritchard, and they basically try to cover up by saying NXT is going to be changed to make sure the stars on that show are going to succeed on the main roster. Because they were tired of seeing stars come to the main roster and not succeed. Well, guess what? Those stars would have succeeded. The problem is, Vince McMahon did not create them. Vince McMahon did not handpick them. So, of course, the days of not just, on-screen performers, but backstage personnel, of course, being taken off of television and released is still going on. There's not many left. And as I've said before, it just feels like this Vince McMahon virus in some way that's leaving even more of a bad taste in the WWE product is spreading like wildfire. Literally, I can look at the NXT roster. I can't even tell you I even know most of the people on the roster. But there was more people released this past week, all from the NXT brand. And I'm going to go over just a couple of them. I mean, I don't remember all the names, but most of them were writers, personnel, a couple other, just odd name wrestlers. I think there's two people from Malcolm Bivens' stable called Diamond Mine that got released. I think it was at Hideki Suzuki and Hype Man or whatever heck his name is. But you watch, of course, Roderick Strong is probably going to go soon. He dropped the Cruiserweight Championship to Carmelo Hayes, and the Cruiserweight Championship is no longer a thing. Which you guys be thinking, of course, why I still think they're going to do a title match at WrestleMania between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. Ugh. We'll talk about that, of course, again in another video. I think they were gone. A couple other names like Scott Armstrong was released. We all know him as the crooked referee at Night of Champions in 2013. That screwed Daniel Bryan. Dave Kapoor, I think I got released. He was the head writer for Raw for the longest time. He dealt with so much of Vince McMahon shit throughout the years. And a couple other writers, a couple other like no-name people, but the 5 right here to my left are the ones that, I definitely stand out to me, of course. So we'll start at the top and work our way down to the bottom. The 2 on the bottom are definitely the biggest. The first one, of course, is Danny Burch. Let me put it this way. I am very surprised that Danny Burch was not released when they released Oney Lorcan. If Oney Lorcan was going to go, there was no way they were going to keep Danny Burch. Danny Burch, though, has been out for quite a long time now. He has to have like a shoulder injury he had suffered, which I think is what happened while Lorcan and Burch were NXT Tag Champs. Which I'm glad they were able to become NXT Tag Champs, because they were always, to me, an underrated tag team that would put on a solid match. I never saw them, though, as being the faces of the tag team division. But they were a fun tag team to put on some very underrated hidden gems, for sure. But I definitely thought Burch was going to be gone once Lorcan was gone. They did not release Lorcan, but now, of course, they finally released Danny Burch, which is a shame. I kind of hope maybe him and Oney reunite, maybe. I'd say maybe they go to like Impact, maybe. I feel like that'd be a good spot for them. But of course, that one, of course, did not surprise me at all. Then there's Timothy Thatcher. Poor Timothy Thatcher. First off, I don't think he's been on TV ever since 2.0. I don't think he's been on TV since like August, which is a shame. Vince obviously saw absolutely nothing in this guy. But I like Timothy Thatcher personally. I thought what I liked about Timothy Thatcher is that when Triple H, of course, was around, he stood out because they were booking him as like a submission specialist, like a submission machine, like the teacher, Thatcher's Thatch Can or whatever heck it was called. He was kind of like some submission teacher that he would always like have over his gimmick, and I loved it. Again, it was different and it stood out. He had a great fight pit match with Matt Riddle in Riddle's final NXT match. Well, he recently apparently came back to NXT and had a 6-man tag with Imperium and MSK at New Year's Evil. But I just like how they made him feel very unique and he stood out. He could, if Triple H was still around and Thatcher was around during like the golden ages of NXT, he really would have thrived. He definitely would have been like at least a North American champion. He would have been great. He could have had some good technical wrestling matches with guys. Even with like Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan. I think was it him or Kushida? He's another one I'm surprised hasn't gotten released yet. Kushida. But I think he had a match with Drew Gulak. Or am I thinking of someone different? But I thought he had a match with Drew Gulak. But I just definitely was intrigued by, how they booked him as like a submission artist. But Vince McMahon literally just didn't give him a shot at all. But he's someone else I can see probably going to Impact. AEW, maybe, but I don't think he would stand out if he was in AEW right now. I think he would probably more stand out in maybe Impact. So, that's where I'm hoping he goes. But of course, I think all these guys, since they were in NXT, including Samoa Joe, of course, I think they only have 30-day no-compete clauses. So they could be arriving in their new places in a month. Maybe. Road Dogg Jesse James. Road Dogg. Oh, Road Dogg. Remember the days of where we were getting hashtag Fire Road Dogg trended on Twitter? Back in like 2017 when he had replaced Ryan Ward as head writer for SmackDown. How much heat he got, especially when he wrote Jinder Mahal as WWE champion. Is it unbelievable that is just so long ago? Jinder Mahal as WWE champion, and Road Dogg was the head writer for that. And of course, the following year, he was appearing. His name was appearing on scripts for Raw, so there was rumors that he was writing stuff for Raw also, and it was just, it was so ugly. As many of us say, Road Dogg, yes, he is one of the best on the microphone. He definitely be a good, promo coach, a good, trainer, anything except creative. Writing for the shows was definitely not his thing. Some people wonder maybe he'll go to AEW and reunite with Road Dogg. With Billy Gunn in the Gun Club maybe, and bring the New Age Outlaws to AEW. Fine. It wouldn't be. It's not something I'm like craving to have that much though right now. But I was gonna be him. But that just sucks though, especially since of course he's good friends with Triple H. Especially they're all part of DX and whatnot. But that one definitely sucks. But I know some people are just like, okay, yeah, he left a bad taste already with how he blocked all those people, of course, also on Twitter for saying #Fire Road Dogg and everything. But yeah, that just that just sucks. But there's those three. But let's check the live chat, of course, before we go to the last two, because the last two were big. We have Tyler in the live chat saying fire Nick Khan and Johnny Ace. Yeah, definitely, especially Nick Khan for sure. What's going on, Mark? Not too bad. His question is, who else are we going to see get released this year? At this point, again, nobody is safe. But there's people I'm surprised they haven't released Mustafa Ali. They haven't released Mace or T-Bar, especially Mace, because T-Bar they've at least put in a few matches, even though again that means absolutely nothing. Again, they released the biggest name I cannot believe they released was Braun Strowman. I cannot believe that they gave up on Braun Strowman. Well, not that they gave up, but the fact they released him. He just to me felt like the guy they went to when they needed something. Not when they wanted to, when they needed him. And unless he requested, which I don't think he requested his release, I think he just was just as shocked as we were when he got released. But I just think that that's one person they really did dirty. And yeah, like I said, the fact that they only used him in the spots we wanted them when they needed him, and then they released him was just very filthy of them, I still say. But yeah, that just to me showed that nobody is safe. Again, I guess that was the Mason T-Bar, maybe Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin at this point. Maybe Roderick Strong now that he's no longer Cruiserweight champion. I could maybe see him going as well. But there's a lot of people I definitely Tommaso Ciampa. I think is going to just let his contract expire and he'll be gone. Of course, Kevin Owens re-signed. I'm not sure if he's going to regret that or not. Of course, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of people I could definitely see going. I could see getting released still because who knows at all. Tyler says Vince needs to retire. Again, as I always say, I think Vince is just going down with the ship. When Vince goes, the company goes with him because no one can do any. He does not want anyone's ego to ever be better than his. If somebody dares try to make his ego, tries to make themselves look more successful than him, he will haunt them from above. If he even gets to above, which okay, that was a little harsh to say. I do apologize, but it's true. What's up, TN Couponer? I'm not too bad. Just trying to get a lot of content punched out tonight because again, I'm leaving tomorrow afternoon to travel for work. I'm going to be away for a week in Vegas, actually, working the PPAI trade show. So that's actually what I'm going to be doing this coming week. So I'm definitely, just got to finish getting packed for that tonight, but I don't leave till tomorrow afternoon. And Ciampa says not Ciampa. TN Couponer says he would like to see Timothy Thatcher in MLW Wrestling too. Okay. I know there's a lot of companies that people are saying that there's not as many options. There's, of course, GCW is starting up and a few others, but, ROH is gone. New Japan's not doing anything more until the numbers die back down again. A lot of people are even saying that, and I agree that AEW, is just, they're crammed. Who else do they have room for? Tony Khan, though, again, is going to make room for people he knows will make his company a lot of money. That's for sure. But that's why, we have these two at the bottom here. Let's first start talking about William Regal. I cannot believe they got rid of Regal. I can't tell you how many people praised this man. Said if it wasn't for Regal, they wouldn't be where they are. He was the ones, of course, who, scouted the globe and whatnot, and brought in some people, and signed people such as the Johnny Garganos, the Tommaso Ciampas, the Samoa Joes, the Pete Dunnes, all these other, names in NXT. The Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, for crying out loud, acknowledged William Regal. And, again, AEW could easily pick up someone like Regal. Not just maybe just like an on-screen personnel, but definitely for, backstage, help talent, help scout out talent. He is just someone who is, meant for that role, of course, and will thrive on it. And again, a company also like AEW that's going to be doing a Owen Hart tournament. Kevin Owens' favorite wrestler of all time, which is why, of course, since he couldn't be Kevin Steen in WWE, he's picked Kevin Owens after both his son Owen and his favorite wrestler Owen Hart. But of course, he stays with the company that the Hart family does not want to acknowledge Owen Hart because of, what happened with him. And now that even Regal has been released as well, because of course he was one of the big names during the era when NXT was considered the show, and the show that everybody preferred over Vince McMahon's shows. Now Kevin Owens still stays at that, and man, it just... again, if Kevin wanted to stay, that's his choice, but man, it just really sucks to see. But that one I know really hit a lot of people hard for sure, because like I said, most of the people in NXT that succeeded wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Regal. Which of course leads to the last person, of course. The second time, within not even a year, within 9 months, WWE has released Samoa Joe twice. Not once, twice they've released him. Now, of course, Eva Marie got brought back, then 3 months later she got cut, but, she was gone for quite a while, but of course that was pointless. Samoa Joe, oh boy. The first time he was released, obviously because he's injury prone, which I noticed he was not really coming across as injury prone until he started working a full schedule on the main roster. Then the injuries started to pile up for Samoa Joe. But they still had the balls to release someone like Samoa Joe, who could literally be anything. Backstage personnel, commentator, main event player. He obviously, when he got to the main roster, had to wrestle a safe way. When he got brought back to NXT, because Triple H brought him back to NXT after he was released. He was like, we ain't letting him go anywhere. Brought him back as an enforcer. That was just a beautiful role for him, and the build to the match with him and Karrion Kross was excellent. The company that labeled him as injury prone cleared him, not only let him wrestle, but he won the NXT Championship from Karrion Kross at NXT TakeOver 36. And then just when Vince McMahon takes over NXT and makes it NXT 2.0, he gets stripped due to injuries. And you find it a coincidence that he was released due to injuries right when Vince takes over, and these injuries were never really exposed as to what they were. But the moment that I heard that Vince was taken over and Samoa Joe got relinquished of the NXT Championship, I knew it was only a matter of time before they were going to release him again. And as much as I do agree, yes, they played him dirty big time, because Triple H couldn't save him this time, as dirty as they played him, I am actually completely fine with the fact they let him go a second time. Because he was not going to get the respect. Again, you have no reason. They can't even explain what injuries he had that led to him getting the title relinquished. I think that was just Vince McMahon basically saying, mine. We're not relying on you with that championship, so we're taking that back, and we're just going to send you back home. So, and then they release him again. Like, this, how dirty is that? But, again, I expected it, so now that it's happened, I'm like, just let him go then if you're going to treat him like garbage. You already basically did when you pulled the title off of him, so let him go and let him go somewhere where he's actually going to get to do something and be respected. Like, for crying out loud, yes, the guy's injury prone, but like I said, it could be because he just couldn't work a full schedule. You know, AEW does not only works like twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays, and a pay-per-view 4 times a year. But that's a much lighter schedule than from before. So, you know, Samoa Joe could come into AEW and literally do like anything, be an ambassador, backstage personnel. He could be like an enforcer like he was when he got brought back to NXT. Easily a main event when he gets in the ring, and he could easily put on an excellent match. Let him, again, remember, when he got brought back to NXT and wrestled Karrion Kross, he hit the Muscle Buster. He has not used that move since he was in NXT previously before he got called up. And of course, that's the move that was known to have ended Tyson Kidd's career, yes, but, you know, still an excellent move, and it's still safe to use when allowed to. But Regal, Joe, Regal! One of the best on the microphone for sure in the business. Tony Khan, in 30 days, make the call. Make the call for at least Samoa Joe and William Regal. That is, of course, the ones that I definitely want them to see them go after. Like Regal for backstage personnel and whatnot. Joe, again, you can do anything. He can wrestle. He can be a commentator. He can, be an enforcer. He can be a backstage personnel. Any of that. But give him the respect he deserves. Don't re-sign him. Well, okay. Triple H stuck his neck out for Joe, re-signed him, brought him back, and then as soon as Vince takes over, he goes, nope, takes the title right back off of him. And again, I'm pretty sure Joe was fine. Joe was fine to wrestle. I'm pretty sure he was. Vince just played him dirty. Played him dirty big time. And as upset as I am how they treated him, I'm not surprised. I am just not surprised at all. But, and hey, maybe we can see a match with him and Punk while he's in AEW. But like I said, all these guys, I'm pretty sure were all, even Joe, were under NXT contracts. So hopefully, if what I'm thinking is correct, they'll only have a 30-day no-compete clause. Which, if it wasn't for Malachi Black having that glitch in his contract with a 30-day no-compete clause, I would have not known it even existed. So, maybe at Revolution, or sooner, we may be seeing the arrival of Samoa Joe. But we'll just have to wait and see. And yeah, that was just very brief, but those are my brief thoughts on the releases from this past week. Let's check the live chat. Let me see here. Mark said he could see Asuka getting released, which wouldn't surprise me. She's been out with injury for a while, so that could happen. He also says, I could see the rest of the NXT roster from the Black and Gold era being released. That's for sure. By the way, I didn't watch New Year's Evil. Apparently, Braun Breaker, kicked down the Black and Gold NXT, sign or something like that, or a flag or something like that. Yeah, it definitely shows that, they're trying to act like, oh, well, AEW can fire shots at us. Why don't we fire shots at an old product? Yeah, very wise of them. But, we got Grandmaster Yoda. What's up, Grandmaster? Sorry, TN Cooper says, let's see Joe getting back to Impact or ROH when it gets started back up. Which could work too. Of course, Joe is in TNA for the longest time. But, definitely AEW. I would love to see Joe go to AEW. Grandmaster Yoda said, "May the Force be with you." Thank you, Grandmaster Yoda. Regal would be a brilliant mind for AEW, yes. And Mark is already worried we're not going to be getting any surprise entries because they already announced half the participants. Yeah, we'll talk about that actually again. I'm going to try to do one more stream tonight. Can't guarantee it because I still have to finish packing for my trip. But I still got a lot of Seinfeld reviews to do. But I may try to go live one more time and give my thoughts on something I think that should happen in 2022 for WWE. But that'll be in a little bit. But guys, yes. That's my brief thoughts on the recent releases. Again, most of the backstage personnel didn't know them, so don't care as much. Well, I care, but not as much. Road Dogg, surprise. But like I said, he definitely hurt his reputation. Danny Burch, again, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised he wasn't released sooner, as I thought he'd be released with Oni Lorcan. Timothy Thatcher, Vince wasn't using him, but definitely a very underrated submission specialist. Regal, of course, hurt. And again, Joe played him dirty, but like I said, I was expecting it. Especially at the moment Vince McMahon again took over, I knew Joe was going to go again. Which is unfortunate, but he's ecstatic about his future. I know wherever he goes, hopefully AEW, he's going to kill it. So guys, I should hopefully be back up here again soon tonight. But what were your thoughts again on these NXT releases? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below, and be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content coming on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. And so then guys, and check it out. I'll see you all later. Have a good rest of your night. Peace out, everybody.